The world island sold for $14 billion. 300 artificial islands shaped like a world map. Celebrities bought private paradises. Angelina Jolie reportedly purchased Ethiopia. Brad Pitt claimed Lebanon. The most ambitious land reclamation project in human history was 70% sold before construction finished. So why can you now buy entire countries for the price of a downtown apartment? This isn't about failed construction. This is about what happens when engineering ambition collides with environmental reality and leaves $14 billion rotting in salt water. If you're finding this story fascinating, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment about which mega project failure you'd like to see covered next. But before we start, in 2003, Dubai's Nakheel Corporation unveiled a vision that captured global imagination, a miniature world map composed of artificial islands in the Persian Gulf. Each island meticulously shaped to represent countries and continents, with proportions carefully preserved despite the engineering challenges. This wasn't just another luxury development. It was marketed as the ultimate status symbol for the ultra-wealthy, owning your own private country. The marketing campaign targeted A-list celebrities, creating a frenzy of exclusivity. Rod Stewart reportedly purchased Great Britain for $33 million. Formula One champion Michael Schumacher claimed Germany. These high-profile acquisitions weren't just sales. They were strategic proof that the world's elite believed in this floating paradise. The numbers behind the world were as staggering as its concept. A $14 billion total investment created 300 islands spanning 9 kilometers by 7 kilometers of ocean. Island prices range from $7 million for smaller territories to $50 million for premium locations like Australia and Manhattan. Buyers weren't just purchasing land. They were promised private beaches, exclusive helicopter access, and the freedom to build custom mansions on their personal countries. Most remarkably, 70% of the islands sold before construction was even completed. Premium locations like the United States and United Kingdom generated waiting lists of billionaires eager to claim their piece of this artificial world. The project appeared to be Dubai's greatest triumph until reality began washing it away. Fast forward to 2026, and the contrast between promise and reality is stark. Construction began in 2003 with projected completion by 2008. Yet today, only 2 islands have been fully developed with permanent residents. The population projections told of 250,000 residents by 2020. The current count stands below 500 people across the entire archipelago. The accessibility issues alone reveal the project's fundamental flaws. Many islands are only reachable by helicopter during low tide, with boat access impossible due to shallow waters and ongoing erosion. The interconnected waterways that were supposed to create a navigable paradise have instead formed a transportation nightmare. Perhaps most telling is the collapse in market value. Islands originally commanding 30 to 50 million now languish on listing sites for 3 to 8 million, representing losses of 70 to 85%, and still find no buyers. These aren't just poor investments, they're stranded assets that continue to deteriorate year after year. Infrastructure that was promised never materialized across most of the development. Reliable utilities, sewage systems, and emergency services remain absent, making permanent habitation impossible without extraordinary private investment. Behind this spectacular failure lies a corporate calculation that prioritized profit over viability. Nakheel employed a financing strategy that used pre-sales revenue to fund ongoing construction, essentially using new buyer money to finance promises made to earlier investors. This created tremendous cash flow before delivering a functional product. Critical corners were cut to maintain profitability. Engineers switched from marine sand, which naturally compacts underwater, to cheaper desert sand that remains unstable in marine environments. This single decision compromised the structural integrity of the entire project. The human cost extended beyond disappointed billionaires. Construction relied heavily on migrant workers paid $4 to $6 daily, working in dangerous marine conditions with minimal safety equipment. No comprehensive environmental impact studies were conducted before moving 321 million tons of sand and permanently altering the Gulf ecosystem. The Dubai government's role cannot be overlooked. Officials provided regulatory fast-tracking and marketing support without requiring completion guarantees or buyer protections that might have prevented the worst outcomes. What many buyers discovered too late were the hidden costs making the world financially unsustainable. Each island requires $2 to $4 million annually just for erosion control and structural reinforcement to remain above water. Connecting basic utilities costs an additional $8 to $15 million per island, expenses never included in the original purchase prices. Transportation logistics create further financial burdens. Helicopter access runs $500 to $1,200 per trip, while boat maintenance and specialized docking facilities add $200,000 to $500,000 annually per island. Insurance, when available at all, comes through specialty providers like Lloyd's of London at 300 to 500% premium rates due to the extraordinary risks. Legal battles have consumed nearly as much money as construction. Ongoing litigation between Nakheel buyers and contractors has generated over $2.8 billion in legal costs since 2008, with no resolution in sight for most disputes. The environmental consequences represent perhaps the most tragic aspect of this failure. Sand dredging destroyed 1,500 hectares of natural reef systems, eliminating fish breeding grounds and disrupting the Gulf's marine food chain. The artificial islands lose 2 to 4 meters of coastline annually due to wave action and poor sand composition, with some islands now 40% smaller than their original size. Water quality between the islands has deteriorated catastrophically. The original design failed to account for water circulation, creating stagnant zones perfect for algae blooms and bacterial growth. These conditions have made swimming dangerous and killed most remaining marine life in the vicinity. Climate change threatens to deliver the final blow. Rising sea levels and increased storm intensity put lower elevation islands at risk of submersion within 15 to 20 years, a timeline no developer's warranty will cover. The human stories behind these statistics reveal the true impact. Rod Stewart publicly called his purchase the biggest mistake of my life, unable to sell or develop his $30 million investment. Wealthy Gulf families who purchased multiple islands face combined losses exceeding $400 million, with limited legal recourse. Construction claimed at least 47 documented worker lives, with families receiving minimal compensation due to complex jurisdictional issues. Marine biologists report a 60% decline in local fish population and the complete destruction of coral reef systems that took centuries to develop. The World Islands failure isn't an isolated incident, but part of a troubling global trend in land reclamation projects. Similar developments in China, the Netherlands, and Singapore face comparable environmental and financial challenges as climate change accelerates. The fundamental flaw in these artificial island economics is that maintenance costs inevitably exceed revenue potential, making long-term viability impossible. Dubai's development model, which prioritizes marketing spectacle over engineering feasibility and environmental sustainability, faces a reckoning as these failures become impossible to ignore. Rising seas and extreme weather make all artificial island projects increasingly risky as insurance and maintenance costs spiral upward. They sold countries that are now sinking back into the sea they were stolen from. $14 billion bought the world's most expensive lesson in why you can't outsmart 50 million years of marine ecology. Before investing in any land reclamation project, research its environmental impact. The ocean always wins. Have you visited the World Islands? Share what you saw in the comments. The reality behind the marketing. When developers promise to reshape the planet for profit, remember the World Islands. Some dreams should stay on the drawing board, not rotting in salt water.